Hello, everybody. Welcome to CKAD Lab 62, Part 3. CKAD Lab 62, Part 3. Let's remind ourselves of the requirements. Create a secret, which we did. Create a namespace, which we did. Create a pod, which we're doing. So far, we've defined the namespace in the pod. We've used the busybox image. We have definition for the container to run for 2 hours. We also have the definition in the YAML file to mount the secret in a certain path. Now, all we have to do is make sure the pod gets scheduled on node number 1. So before, at the very end of lab 2, I had labeled the node foo-bar so we can then use that. Now comes exercise of finding out how to use nodeAffinity in a pod, right? So let's use kubectl explain for that. Okay, explain pod.spec. And we see under pod.spec, there's a thing called affinity. So we can now look at affinity. Okay, and then we see nodeAffinity. So we do nodeAffinity with the spacing. You can see the case is A because it's camel case. If you remember that, it's easier for you to type out these things. Okay, now just from experience, I happen to know that this is a better way of doing this. So we'll choose that one. And then underneath there, under that, we have nodeSelectorTerms. And under that, we see matchExpressions. This is where we're going to put in the foo.bar, foo equals bar in the node that we created, because that's where the matching is going to come from. So matchExpressions, and under matchExpressions is key, foo, operator in value, one of the values would be bar. So we got the hierarchy of the YAML file. So we're going to use that now. So this will start under spec. You see pod spec. I'm going to grab these. Now, not all of these are actually objects, right? But we're going to pretend that, and as it gives us errors, we can fix them. So let's edit the file again. And this is, remember, this is the pod level, so you can just start over here. So let's put the structure together first. Affinity. We don't need dot. Every step is going to have 2 more spaces. That's how you know it's an object. We do that. Alrighty. Do that. Each of these lines is going to have a colon. That's true up in, I think, pretty much all cases here. So, colon, and now if you remember if you can rewind the video and see, there is key, operator, and values. So key will be foo, operator will be in, because it'll be a match in an array, and the values, which is an array, and the only value that we want this to match is bar. So okay, so that's the beginning part. I'm going to run this, and it's going to run into error, and I'm going to fix it live, because not all of these are actually objects. Some of them are arrays of things. So let's do that. Now let's pretend we're going to apply this and see what error we get. First error, it said invalid type. nodeSelectorTerms got map expected array. So nodeSelectorTerms is going to be an array. So let's look at that. nodeSelectorTerms is going to be an array. That means it needs dash like that. Right? In fact, I happen to know that this is also an array, so I'm going to do that. And that might do the trick, actually. So let's try that. Okay, apply. There you go. All right, I hope you find this labs useful. If you do, please like and subscribe. That really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. This was part 3 of the lab for Lab CK62. I will see you in Lab CKAD 63.